Hello Internet, Magic Man here again from MMOBomb.com, and today we're taking a first look at RaiderZ. Now this is a free-to-play upcoming MMORPG with a little monster hunting twist from myriad Entertainment and Perfect World Entertainment. We're going to spend some time in the game, check it out, give you some info because everybody's kind of pumped about this one, so let's take a look. Now keep in mind this is an early build of the game, restricted to press access right now with an upcoming beta. So everything you see is of course subject to change. So let's start with the character creator here. So we've got our basic model up. This is our defender, sword and board. Not too bad on the character model here. Now, I've already played through this a little bit and laying down the commentary over the top because we've got a ton of information to show you here. So we've got 4 different styles: your defender, your berserker, you've got your cleric, and your sorcerer. Now, the berserker here is your two-handed specialist, so great damage, little slow on the combat. Your cleric is can play a support role as far as buffing people and giving you some enhanced combat, but it also can do some damage on its own as well. Sorcerers, you know, your melee, what the hell, Magic Man? What time is it here? Sorcerer is your range DPS, although they do have some melee type spells. We'll get into that a little later. So let's create a berserker. We're gonna go with a berserker here because Perfect World Entertainment was nice enough to give us a level 15 sorcerer and a level 15 defender. We'll check out the sorcerer later, but to get into melee, we're gonna build a berserker here. Now, customization right now, I don't know if they're planning on adding to this, but pretty much pick your face out of some presets, pick your hair out of some presets, and change the colors. Not too much. You can give it some tattoos, and that's about it. I have no idea what this slider's supposed to do. It looked like it was supposed to change the face axis, but it didn't. And colors, so okay, these are our armor sets here, giving you an idea. What the... Was this Brett the Hitman Hart? You know what, should we change this? No, you know what, I think we're gonna stick with the Brett the Hitman Hart look. This one's a little darker, but nah, we're gonna jump in like this. And name a Magic Man, and let's get started here. So let's get something out of the way nice and early while the game's loading up for us. If you're familiar with Terra, you are familiar with the way RaiderZ plays. It's an action combat, so there's no tab targeting. Well, you can target, but you do have to dodge, you do have to move, you do have to slide out of the way, attack enemies from an advantageous position. You do have to be looking at enemies and swinging in the right direction to hit them. So right now you see the movement, WASD. The mouse, your buttons on the mouse trigger. Your left button is your attack, and your right button is a block, like you see there. And the block does take some stamina out of that yellow bar in the upper left. And we can sheath our sword there with F. So, the way the game plays, and I've spent quite some time in here, I actually got this character probably to about level 8, level 9 before I switched over to one of the pre-built 15s. You see some of the settings in here. They do have some graphical options, nothing hugely stellar. It's your basic stuff. And your key bindings. No auto loot. Ugh. Come on, Perfect World Entertainment. Give me an auto loot. Give me an auto loot. So, typical pick up your quest from the quest giver. Go to a particular target. I thought this was a node to mine or something, but these are actual soul stones where you'll be rezzed if you happen to die. Visually, the game actually looks pretty nice. The graphics, I mean, yes, I've seen better, and you guys have seen better too, but this is, I would say this is on par with a lot of things that you're seeing now. So this is your typical run to person, turn in your quest, and a lot of the questing is your typical kill 10 of these, kill 5 of these, pick up 5 of these, come on back, get your 10 gold in a hug, as I always say. So right now we've got 2 quests we can pick up here. And these are just kill slaughter quests. So now you're going to get to see a little bit of the combat as we start to get into the game here. Models for the monsters, gotta say, are really cool, especially as you advance in the game. The models continue to impress. There's some really creative monsters here. Now see, I dodged to the left and he hit me because he's swinging that way. If I go off to my character's right, then I can dodge most of these attacks. Standing behind him. So it's very possible, you know, you can get skilled at the combat and not get hit by things. Now, that does mean, just like in other games, so I know you guys are going to comment, you know, oh, it's combat similar to Terra. It is. But I like this style of combat, and it seems to be something that you're seeing a lot more rather than your typical World of Warcraft tab target and don't stand in green shit. So I do like that style of combat. It just seems a bit more real to me, and it's a lot more interesting to play. You actually have to focus on what you're doing. But that also means that there are certain enemies, epic monsters, which you will see one in the video here. There are epic monsters, or even if you're fighting monsters that are a level or two above you, that you may die on once as you learn each of their different attacks, their different abilities, and their area of effect for those abilities. Like this big tree guy, when he flashes red, he's going to stomp, and that's a AoE around him, so when he flashes red, you've got to get out of it. I didn't there, so you'll have that. That tree looks awesome. Other than that, he really didn't have any abilities. But hey, I mean, we're dealing with level 1, level 2 monsters right now. Just trying to get you a feel for the combat is what's going on. If you're not familiar with it, it definitely takes some getting used to. So we've seen action combat before in things like Vindictus and obviously Terra and things like that. But this is more of an open world MMO. It's not the instance-based that you see in Vindictus and C9. Now, you just saw there, one of the things that I really enjoy is that your character model, depending on the ability being used, you saw that I got picked up and thrown into the ground. It's not just a cast ability and I was there and I took damage. It actually picks your entire model up. I fought an epic monster later with this character that actually would eat you. It was a big lizard-looking thing. And your model does get sucked up and into the mob's mouth, and when the mob closes his mouth, you know, you can't see your character. So the animations are pretty cool to watch when you're playing the game here. Let's kill a couple more of these just to get our quest. And you can see playing with the angles of attack and when you use different abilities. Right now I only have the one ability, which is this big overhand swing that knocks certain enemies down right there and gives you some free shots on them. Those are always good. They come in handy later. But you really have to pick your abilities carefully and decide what's going to be best for the way you want to play the character, which I think is just great. This is one of my only complaints with the game, though, is the loot. Loot is done with the E key, so you have to press the E key to kneel down and start to loot, and then you can either click on loot individual items, click on loot all, or press E to loot everything. If you hold E down, 9 times out of 10, it will kneel down and automatically loot it for you. But sometimes, if you get to the loot a little early before the graphic is there, your character will continually kneel and open the bag. And you'll probably see that on 1 or 2 of these monsters here. Now, right now, I'm just fighting my way to the quest target. Right there, that's what I'm talking about, when the window opens 2 or 3 times and you have to fully let go of E and try again. But this was just me playing with some more combat before I get to the little village here where we can turn these quests in and pick up some additional quests as well. Oh, bear. Something different. Let's take on the bear here. And again, you get to see the ability. So swipe in the front, a roar, Knocked him down there, so get my freebie shots in. And big swipe from the bear right into the mouth. Now see, he's playing both sides there too. The mob's swiping left and right, so you really have to watch where it's coming from to get out of the way in time. If you like this combat, then you love it. Now I will say this, and obviously I'm playing a Berserker, which is a two-handed. The combat is a little sluggish. It's not quite as responsive as I would like yet. But again, it is an early build, so I would imagine it's something that they're working on still. I mean, I already expect a Berserker to be a little bit slower anyway, because they're using the whole two-hand thing. But even taking that into account, the combat was a little sluggish. When we get to the Sorcerer later in the video here, even with the spells, it just felt a little sluggish. It wasn't as fast as you would expect for action combat. So I hope it's something that they just kind of tweak in time. Now, any NPC here that has these little chat bubbles above them, you can talk to them. You're not going to see me talk to a bunch. After I talked to 2 or 3, that was about it. So your crafting is actually done at these different artisans. This is a weapon one. You'll see a cooking one and an armor smith one. You can buy the recipes and store them in your journal. Get the mats, but you still have to come back to the actual artisan to make it for you. They're the ones that craft it. Now, I don't know if your character later is able to craft by themselves, but at least initially here, I would have to buy the pattern, take it with me so that I could know what mats I needed, and then bring it back and just have the weaponsmith make it for me. And a ring-a-ding-ding. So here's your skill tree. They do show you the skill trees for all 4 styles or classes. Not really sure why there. But your typical talent tree, spend the points in the top tier, then move down the tiers and progressively get better and better. One thing you will see, though, is mastery skills on the right. When you spend a number of points in that tier, you will automatically pick up the mastery abilities as well. In this case, we have to spend 5 points in that top tier to pick up the first 2 masteries. So there's quite a bit of progression. I would imagine that the skill system, the way it's set up, it allows you to continue to customize your character when you reach whatever the level cap ends up being in the launched version. Alright, so go back down here. They want me to talk to the weaponsmith. This is your typical regular quests to learn your crafting and how you do that, so we'll skip that. Not going to make you watch that. So we've made a sword here, and I'm dumb. I made the wrong one. I made the one-hander. Don't want that, so we're going to talk to him again real quick and just have him make the two-hander. I cut out there the whole quest to get the mats. It was just a kill some mobs and get the drops. So we'll get him to make our two-hander now and get a weapon upgrade. Go ahead, Loco. My man, nice job. Alright, so let's press escape, get to the old inventory here. There's our new two-hander. Let's equip that bad boy. Okay, it's not right-click, it's a left-click. And there we go. Perfecto. We got a new sword. Wait a minute. Are those materia slots? This sword looks awfully familiar, except it's got one too many. Huh. Could this be a homage to Final Fantasy there? Hey, I'm in favor of it if it is. Who knows? Alright, so let's continue the questing. Enough of me off on my tangents there. Sorry, it just looked like materia slots. Oh, minor leg injury. So, yep, falling from heights does do damage, and you get leg injuries, and you move slower, things like that. Alright, so now let's get some more combat here. Let's go this way and tear some things up. Now, as we venture out here, you are going to see our first epic monster. This is our cooking master. He's going to give us a little question here. Perfect. Thank you, my man. Now, in the mini-map in the upper right-hand corner, I didn't really have a problem questing. I mean, you see the quest log on the right-hand side, but the mini-map in the upper right is actually well done. You can see the arrows pointing to my different quest items. You can see the one that is has a circle highlighting it. That's the one that's actually being tracked in the log itself. If you would have clicked the log, I didn't here, it would switch. You can also click to move in this game. You can just click the location you want to go to on your screen and it'll take you there as well. So you do have options as far as movement. There are hyperlinks in the quests to kind of guide you if you're having a problem. But like I said, the quest log itself and the mini-map, that was fine by me. So let's go to the other side of the map here and kill a couple of things, give you some different mobs to take a look at, because that's a big selling feature of this game, is the monster hunting aspect. You know, fight together or die alone is the tagline for the advertising, which is a pretty good tagline, actually. Now, I didn't have to group, and it's a pretty good thing, because at one point in general chat, I asked if anybody was there, and nobody answered, so I have a feeling I might have been one of the only people on the server at this particular time checking the game out. And like I said, that's to be expected. It was a press access that Perfect World was nice enough to give us. And I just got charged in my mouth. Nice job. So, you see I've opened up that charge ability. That can hit on one. It's a 3-hit straight line pushback, but it can very well, if you trigger it at the wrong angle, it can hit once and miss the second and third time, and then you end up 10 yards behind the enemy. So all about positioning, my brothers and sisters. All about position. Little dodge action there. The shift key will do that for you when you're playing the game. Shift and an arrow will do whatever, a barrel roll if you want to call it, or a tuck and dive, whatever, in that direction that you're pressing. That ship looks so cool. Alright, so we're going to go turn these quests in. So questing, yeah, I mean, it leaves a little bit to be desired. Again, I'm only, I only got to about 8 or 9 on one character, on this character that you're actually watching, Brett the Hitman Berserker. And there wasn't too much variation between gather and kill quests. Didn't have any escort quests, thank God for that. I don't know if there's any later in the game or not, but there weren't any as far as I played the game, and I'm gonna play it some more after the first look, because we have access to it for a few more days. So if there's any variation in questing, I'll be sure to put it in the comments for you guys. So this is the armor smith. He doesn't like the gear I have on right now, and so we're gonna do the same thing that we did with the weaponsmith. We're going to pick up mats for a couple of these. I actually already have the mats. Luckily enough, so we'll just create 3 different pieces of armor and get some upgrades. And I won't look like Brett the Hitman Berserker anymore, which is a shame. I would fear this guy. He's Brett the Hitman Berserker with Cloud's sword. Alright, so we'll make the adventurer gear and complete the quest and get some upgrades in the process. Ta-da! There's one. And which ones do we need for this quest? Okay, we need these. Ta-ta-ta-ta-ta. One thing I don't understand about the crafting there, if the NPC is the one that's making it, why is there a cast bar? Is it really necessary? I mean, I could see if your character was making it, then Obviously, you can't click on it and go do 9 other things, but why on earth, if the NPC is making it, is there a cast bar for it? No animation, no anything like that, but a cast bar. Who knows? Maybe it'll change. Alright, so let's equip the gear here. Get my adventurer's gear on. Now, right now, I'm stuck in the light armors. One of the first 2 masteries that you unlock there for that first tier is actually the ability to wear chain. So we will get into the tougher stuff. Just not... What the... Now I look like Waka. Man, you Final Fantasy fans are just loving these references. Look at that. Alright. Well, that's 2 Final Fantasy references. See how many more we can break into the show here. It is important to, just a little side note, when you guys get into beta, when you're done fighting, sheath your weapon. Your character still continues to move combat slow if you haven't. So make sure you do it. The first couple of quests there I didn't, and when I realized it, I just felt like an idiot. Alright, so we got the archaeologist here. Grab a couple quests and move on, and let's show MMO bombers an epic monster. Come on. Let's go do it. Alright, so you can see him from here already. And this was not the biggest monster that I saw in my playthrough. It is pretty big, but it's not the biggest that I saw. And this is really early in the game. I mean, look at my level, and you're already fighting things like this that are actually pretty challenging. So you learn the abilities as you go here. So I've already seen that he does a frontal swipe. He does a stomp, which is presumably an AoE when I'm in close. He does a thump right there, just brings that whole pillar down. Look at this guy's life. I mean, it's no joke to be fighting these things that early in the game. Okay, so yeah, that is an AoE. A little too close there for Magic Man. Flashing red, wasn't paying attention, and got my face beat in. But I learned my lesson and dodged that one. Now, if you look, he's already dropped a few things here, and this happens throughout the game when you're killing monsters. Not only do they drop loot, but they drop items that you can just immediately run and pick up, and they'll give you a strength buff or something like that. Now, I'm not going to pick them up yet because I had cursored, or I had not moused, because you don't have your mouse out unless you hit control. But I had seen that they were life power-ups. And they'll immediately refill your life. Some of them give you strength, some of them refill your mana or your stamina. So we're gonna pull this guy, use line of sight. Ooh, a rune. I need that for another quest. Let's make a bad decision and try and grab it. We got it, and now let's get away and pick up one of these life things in a second here. There we go. Now see, I've got full life, and he's at 50%, so we can start launching in again. Pretty epic fight to be this early in the game. Actually enjoyed seeing it this early. If you're comparing this to Terra, which a lot of you are going to, you know that you really don't start seeing what they call BAMs until level 20-ish. So I really enjoyed seeing these pretty challenging fights and monsters this big this early in the game. Didn't get far enough fast enough. Nice. Now there are hitboxes, so the only reason I'm able to get under this guy is because of how tall he is and the space between his legs. If he was shorter, my character would hitbox against him and I wouldn't be able to run in between his legs like that. Very action-oriented, brothers and sisters. This is what people have been clamoring for, too. People have watched C9, and we did a really extensive first look like we're doing with this one, because a bunch of people are anticipating RaiderZ. We did a very extensive C9, and people love that type of combat, but have been wanting to see it in a persistent world MMO. Well, this is this is what you wanted, and it's also free to play. Cash shop details, stuff like that. I don't have it yet for you. It's too early build. Alright, so we killed this guy. Awesome. Now, I'm not going to ruin anything else for you when you first start, but the storyline does get really cool after that, and there's a couple more big-ass monsters. Epic monsters, the way they call it. Let's jump over to check out the level 15 Sorcerer. We're not going to show the Defender because it's similar. It's melee combat to the Berserker, except it's board and sword. So let's check this out here. Now, you're not going to see me questing on this character because it does start in the same zones. Here's another interesting aspect of... what the... So they gave us a mount on the... Huh. Okay, that's enough. We've got more than enough Final Fantasy references in here. Oddly similar. So one thing I did like, you just saw me run through an area that didn't have anything in it. Here's the deal, though, gang. That area does have things in it if you are at the appropriate questing. So on my previous character, on the Berserker that I was running with, there ends up being pirates in there, and then a brief little instance combat sequence. There's one or two instances really early in the game, and they're more for the story. Don't think of them as dungeons. Think of them as a closed-off area so that you can watch a little bit of the story. Now, I do want to show you the Sorcerer here, though. So the areas are dynamic. These monsters are also different. If you follow the quest line, you'll come back through this area. These monsters aren't here. They're replaced with other monsters. So it is a dynamic zone, even though we're not instanced. We're still in the open world. Pretty cool. Now, we'll run around on the Sorcerer. I'm not going to quest here because, unfortunately, even though they gave us level 15 characters, they do start in the starting zone still with the very first quest being available. So I just want to run around and show you some of the combat abilities and some of the animations for the spells. My only gripe here, like I told you guys, is it is a little sluggish. Not on the instant casts, but on the channeled casts, you cannot move. So I'm hoping that that's something that they change and maybe add a little movement into even a channeled spell. Gotta say, though, animations are impressive. I mean, I like the Sorcerer. I wish it would have had it in a different zone, but hey, pretty cool. Nice stuff. So I hope you enjoyed this first look. Make sure you rate, comment, subscribe. Come on over to MMOBomb.com. And as always, guys, stay safe. And me and the blacksmith, we'll see you on the servers.